One of the areas, our largest project, one of the areas that you will like.
Okay, of course, now we already talked about the Highway 36 here, so we'll move past that. But one of the things that I think is interesting, of course, is that the chair, Mark Jenkins, several times has talked about action items. I think this is excellent because you see, this commission is a brand new commission, and quite frankly, while they've had the chance of being able to take a look at the signage and review some of that, they really haven't been given any action items on what to work on. And the City Council has actually been considering things that really should have already have gone to this commission first before they ever came to the council. And so the staff has been a little slow in getting this commission up and running. So let's continue on with our film footage. Now keep in mind, this meeting was June 7th, and so of course we're taping this after June 7th. This particular commission meets approximately twice a month. And of course, if you would like to go and watch the meeting in person, you can go onto the city website or call the city to find out when their next meeting is. Now the phone number for City Hall, now do you have your pencil ready? Come on. Okay. Now the phone number for City Hall, Maplewood City Hall, 651-249-2000. And so if you don't have the internet or the availability, you can call that number and ask them when the next Maplewood Business and Economic Advisory Commission meeting is going to be, and then you can attend. And they do have a time where visitors can get up and speak. So if you've got some ideas as to what they should be looking at or how they can best help businesses here in Maplewood, go to the meeting, get up and speak at visitor presentations. I know they want to hear from you. So with that little side note, let's go to our video clip and continue on with the program. Okay, we got a freeze frame action there. But anyway, you saw all the commission members there. One thing I found interesting about this particular meeting is actually the council member who is the liaison, Mr. James Lannis, was sitting up at the dais where everybody who's on the commission was sitting, rather than sitting out in the audience. Typically, it would be that the liaison would sit out in the audience and not actually be sitting up in all the chairs as if they were a member of the commission. Because the council member, the liaison, is not indeed part of the commission. They're not a voting member. They're basically there to be able to hear what some of the comments are. If there are particular things to bring back to the council that the commission is particularly needing or wanting, or that they have some questions on, or that they had some good ideas, that's what the liaison can act as a communication bridge between the commission and the council. Now, what's interesting is that each of the commission also have a staff liaison to them as well. And so if you're looking at the commission handbook, it says in there that each commission will have a staff liaison to assist them in what they're doing. Actually, this handbook also talks about the responsibilities of individual members. And here's the responsibilities of the staff liaison: to provide background and context on a subject, alert the commission to possible detrimental actions, offer professional expertise and recommendations about an issue, make the commissions aware of relevant training that might be available through the League of Minnesota Cities. This was actually something that I think in the last few years that we've been promoting more at Maplewood. This started when I was mayor, is that there are many opportunities for commission members that if there's training available through the league, that they should be able to have that opportunity to go to that, and actually the monies to allow them to be able to go to some of this training was built into their commission budget. Say, for instance, if you're on the planning commission and you would like to have a little bit more knowledge on how a conditional use permit operates, under what kind of conditions can they be revoked, under what kind of conditions can you put different kinds of restrictions as time goes on. Well, those are all very technical questions, and the League of Minnesota Cities actually offers classes on that. And so we thought it would be very appropriate that commission members be able to get that training, because folks who serve on the commissions and the boards are just regular folks like you and I who have their regular day job or whatever it is that they do within the community, or they could be retired, or they could be volunteers, or they could be homemakers. They could do whatever they do. And this is an opportunity that they have to serve their community, whether or not if it's on the Planning Commission or Design Review Board or this commission or some other commission. And since they're coming from all walks of life, there are times where additional training could help them be better volunteers. And so that is why we thought we would want to have them be able to go to various training. And I'm hopeful that this particular commission, the Business Advisory Commission, that they will be able to go to some of the marketing outreach type of classes and programs that are offered either by the league or by other organizations that the city is a member of. So now let's continue with some of our film footage, and we'll come back.
Ask you this, where the staff and or city council are looking for our input on the capital improvement plan, which includes Fish Creek, yet our next item is Fish Creek. Would it meet with staff and or our city council liaison, who's not here right now, to maybe address under new business A the English interchange, Gladstone, in the business, and then save our commentary on Fish Creek for new business B?
Mr. Chair, that's certainly, staff is prepared however you want to run the meeting. As commissioners, you may want to hear the Fish Creek proposal before you take action on this item.
I would think so, yes, but I just want to...
That's certainly your purview. Actually, as the chair, you could even tell the rest of the commissioners that's what you're doing, and I think through parliamentary procedure, they might be able to stop you, but in most cases,
I think they might be wise to try to, if I did to say, let's make a decision on a project we haven't heard everything about.
Well, I'll say it. Can we move on to the 5B, hear that issue, and then come back to 5A?
Is that...
The commissioners are comfortable with that?
We'll go to Fish Creek next, and then we'll come back to all of 5A, all the action items. Does that meet? That's fine. All right, let's do it.
So what I find interesting about that is that, remember, we were just a little while ago talking about the staff liaison responsibilities and everything. Well, you know, one of the things the staff liaison does, because they're the experts, they're the ones making $90,000 a year, is that they put together the agenda and that they put together the packet for the commission. And you would think that they would be thinking about, well, okay, we've got the commission, we want to give them the information on what it is we're talking about before we have an action item, rather than putting the commission in the position of saying, well, gee, maybe the agenda wasn't put together right, and maybe we should put 5B before 5A or whatever. You see, the commission members are volunteers. The people who put the agenda together are the paid professionals. And so I certainly would think that those folks, as part of the responsibility of the staff liaison, is to make sure that the agenda is put in together in such a way that is conducive to the commission members being able to spend their time efficiently and productively, and that it is orderly and makes sense. because, well, gee, isn't that just common sense? But anyway, again, that's my commentary. That's why this is the Citizens Reporter. And we want to report on some of these things that to us just don't seem to make sense. Anyway, let's continue on with our film footage and see where it leads us.
Thank you, staff, for your report on the capital improvements plan. We'll revisit that shortly.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Again, this is an item talking about Fish Creek Estates is what staff has just kind of pulled a term out of the air. We don't know if that's what it's going to be called, but for our standpoint, we try not to call it the Copar project because that was the lawsuit. And so it was, Copar was the previous developer. This is the parcel, if we can have the map. And actually, this is actually the sale document from the realtor, but just shows these particular parcels. It's 73 acres, and it is now available for sale, and certainly part of the Fish Creek initiative for that. Really, what we're talking about this evening under this item is really to consider how to purchase the property, but more importantly, not just purchasing, how do we recover our costs? It's available for $2.75 million. At one point in time during the litigation, the city looked at what it would take to buy the entire property. It was offered for $12 million was the current price.
So anyway, it's always very interesting to hear how all of this works out over time. In that, of course, I have a file probably about, I don't know, 8 inches thick of paper on this particular parcel of land, which is about an average about 72 acres. And of course, the developer purchased the properties for a little over $7 million. And of course, that $12 million that you just heard Mr. All, the second city manager, we've got 2 city managers at Maplewood, he of course quoted a price tag that was offered to the city of Maplewood of $12 million. Well, of course, the figure that the developer at that time, several years ago, the reason that they came up with this figure of $12 million is because they calculated into that number not only the cost of the land as they purchased it, but also the profit that they would be losing by selling the land to Maplewood if they weren't able to build houses there. So that $12 million figure wasn't just the cost of the land, that was also the cost to reimburse them for hypothetical contingent profit and whatever else that they felt that they would have to forego if they sold the property to Maplewood. Well, of course, the council at that time would have none of that because that didn't make any kind of sense whatsoever. As time went on, of course, unfortunately, this particular developer had a turn for the worse, as many developers did. And what happened is that the property that they purchased, they had actually borrowed the money from Lakeland Construction Finance, LLC, which of course there was a huge article in the Star Tribune about 2 years ago now about them and how they borrowed lots of money, and essentially they had to go into receivership. And of course, Lakeland Construction Finance, LLC, because they weren't getting paid by Copar for the property that Copar borrowed money to be able to buy. Lakeland Construction Finance, LLC, what they had to do, they foreclosed on the property, so then that meant the developer was out, and Lakeland then was the one who acquired the property back. But since Lakeland was in receivership and placed there by the Bank of Scotland, well, of course, what happened then as part of this whole receivership issue, the receiver, which happens to be located in Maplewood as well, the receiver